what part of your book was the hardest part to write, where you had to really think, or put more effort into it, or anything you want to share?
I think it's hard to get people to to change mindset, right? So you've been in healthcare for a long time, just like I have too, right? So it's that thought that when somebody big comes in, that you're like, oh my gosh, it's so hard. Like it's going to take twice as much work to move them. It's going to take twice as much work. And a lot of times, like I remember having somebody that was 800 pounds in a hospital that had come in, and everybody was like, oh my gosh, how are we going to move them? We can't move them. They're calling for overhead. And nobody thought to ask them, hey, do you move at home? And they did. They walked. But everybody was so caught up and so ready to judge and be like, well, they're lazy. They don't move at all. And didn't even ask, can you do you walk? What do you do at home? And they could, and they got out of bed and everybody was freaked out, like, oh my gosh, they're gonna fall. No, they're not. They know what they're doing. They can get up. And I think it's trying to be kind, talking to other therapists, like, don't be judgy, don't be mean, so that I'm not being mean
Right.
to them, saying, don't be judgy. But at the same time, don't be judgy. Like, talk, just because somebody is a little bigger does not mean that they're stupid, that they're uneducated, that they're lazy, any of those things. That's not what that means. It's not, one does not equal the other. And so trying to really explain that, and coming from a point of somebody who was the bigger girl, and still moving
Mhm.
people that were bigger, and I could
Mhm.
still lift patients better than anybody else on my team. Even though I
Yeah.
was, 300 something pounds. So it's kind of changing that mindset, and then kind of actually going through and putting in like the picture of the one that, like, I saw that picture and I was like, who is that? Oh my, that's me. Like, that was the first time I actually looked and I was like, I'm really big. Like I didn't realize how big I had gotten. And it was a lot of things, right? So I had had a baby, and then shortly after that, my dad was diagnosed with ALS and passed. And so, emotional eater, and then COVID, and then we moved, and my husband lost his job. It was like all the things. And I was just the emotional eater. And it was figuring out, like, I need to practice what I preach and realize that there's a lot, I'm having a lot of triggers myself. And that's how I got to this situation. So I need to figure that out so that I can fix those issues that I'm having, so I can help other people, because I can't help anybody else if I can't do it myself, right? And so that was really hard, and to kind of pull that up and look at that and be like, man, I was, super smiley and happy at the same time, but not like, there were so many things, and I'd go places and I could, I was the overweight mom in the pick line, struggling to, run after the kids and things. And I could see the looks, and all the things, and kind of going through that and realizing, gosh, I'm not alone. It's not new. It's not different. Like, there's a lot of people going through that. And I think, just in general, it's the last acceptable thing to make fun of, is somebody's weight. Like, people are real quick to
Right.
jump on you if you make fun of somebody's religion or race or any of those things. We're real quick to call it out, but nobody calls out weight bias at all. It's
Yeah.
okay.
Those mama jokes. Your mama's so fat, blah 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 blah.
Yes. Yeah.
And that's funny, right?
Yeah. And it's
Hmm.
always acceptable, right? And you hear the
Right.
kids talking, oh, she's so fat. Like, she's fat. I would never go out with her. She's like fat. People come for you if you call somebody ugly, if you call somebody anything, but you call somebody fat, nobody cares. Like,
Right.
they are.
Right.
It's fine. Like, well, they are. Well, there's so many reasons. People, hormones are huge. Hormones are a big thing, and I get it. Like, there's so many things now, right? Back in the day, it was fen, right? And then we realized fen was bad, and people all of a sudden were getting heart issues. But now we've got things like Ozempic and
Hmm.
Wegovy and all of those things. And those are amazing, and they are amazing tools, and they are doing great things when used properly. That's not enough, right?
I lost about 15 pounds
Yeah.
on Zepbound.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And there's so many things
Yeah.
that we're realizing, because they're still new, right? So there's so many things that they're not, that we're finding that those things are good for. So I was having issues with my hormones. I had a hysterectomy and took everything out, and my hormones were off, and I can't take hormones because I'm a cancer survivor. And so they were like, we can't give you hormones because we don't know. And so she put me on a course of, at the time, what was it? I think it was Wegovy for 4 months, and whatever magic voodoo that it did, all of a sudden I started responding to things, and I started dropping the weight. And it wasn't a lifetime thing. It wasn't forever. It was those 4 months, and it reset something in my gut. And you know, but it's the mindset and it's the habits and routines that you get yourself on when you're on those, because it's not sustainable otherwise. Once you come off it, you gain it right back, unless you've set up
Right.
the proper, you know, exercise, movement, diet, and mindset. What's triggering you to eat, right? That's huge if that's what it is. But sometimes, again, it's the hormones thing. And when that kind of got regulated in me, things started to make sense, and my body was started to react the way it was supposed to. So, you know, it makes a difference.
Yeah. And also, what's recommended for lipedema, from what I've read, is the anti-inflammatory diet. Because the more inflammatory foods you put into your body, the more
Mhm.
systemic inflammation you have. The more systemic inflammation you have, the more pain you have.
Yeah. And there's so
So
many things we don't know. We're still trying to figure things out, right? Like they don't know every little detail about what causes these or what triggers these or how to even to fix things completely. They don't. So we're still figuring those things out. But when the science is starting to catch up with things, like we know about the anti-inflammatory diets now, we know about those things. So we need to pay attention to those and try to figure out ways to make it simpler to to implement those things, because you walk out of the doctor's office with this huge folder full of documents and you're overwhelmed with
very,
like, oh, here's an exercise thing, and here's one for diet, and here's one for this, and here's what you have, and you end up with this big list of things, and it's overwhelming, and you panic, and you're in that shock, like, you know analysis paralysis, where you're like, I don't know what to do. And that's where people like you and I come in to see if we can help break that down and explain things and translate the medical speak, right? And make it realistic and functional for your everyday life. Because you go to these doctors, and the doctors are amazing, but sometimes they're very cute. Like, doctors are very smart, and they went to school, they know the things, and sometimes they don't understand how to explain things my family jokes about it, muggle terms, right? So it's medical speak or muggle. We speak muggle, and can translate it back into English for you, versus all these big
yeah,
complicated words. So sometimes you need that to kind of break it down and explain what's going on, and how to actually put it into practice, because it doesn't make
yeah.
sense.